think I should be able to get this one done. So we are going to go to, this is 6.3 part number 2. Okay, so we are going to now create a two-way table. So yesterday you guys just read them and interpreted them. Now we're actually going to create them. So it says you randomly survey students between the ages of 12 and 17 about whether they ride the bus to school. The results are shown in the tally sheets. Make a two-way table that includes the marginal frequencies. So what I need to do is fill all this out. The first thing I want to do is look at, or like I want to do my titles. So if I look here, I have rides the bus, does not ride the bus, and then I also have age groups. If you see, I have 3 age groups and 2 of the sticky note paper categories. So that should tell you where we are going to put them on our marginal frequencies. So this one right here is kids that do ride the bus. This is kids that do not ride the bus. Okay, then we also have our ages. We have 12 and 13 years old, 14 and 15 years old, and then 16 and 17. And then from there, you just go and you figure out your tally marks. So if I'm going to riding the bus, I'm going to just be looking at the row. And I can see that for 12 and 13, 5, 10, 15, 20, 24 students ride the bus. 14 and 15, 5, 10, 12 ride the bus, and then 16, 17, 5, 10, 14. Okay, then if I come down to kids that do not ride the bus, we have 12 and 13, 5, 10, 15, 16, 14, 15 is 5, 10, 13, and then the 16 and 17-year-old age group, we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 21. Perfect. Okay, then it wants us, and it also said that we want to include the marginal frequencies, meaning we do want to add these numbers together. So 24 and 16 is 40, 12 and 13 is 25, 14 and 21 is 35, and then we have 24 plus 12 plus 14 gives us 50 students. 16, 13, and 21 gives us 50 students as well. Then if I come down here, that would mean the total number of students that I surveyed would be 100 total students that I surveyed total. Okay, so that's all we were doing for this example, is just creating the two-way table and filling it out with its numbers and marginal frequencies. Tegan just yelled. I don't know if you heard that. She's watching Cocomelon. Okay, so now we're going to find a relationship in a two-way table. So we are going to, for each age group, that's important that you read that right there. For each age group, what percent of the students in the survey ride the bus to school, do not ride the bus to school, and then we want to organize the results in a two-way table and then explain what they represent. So if I am just looking at the age groups, that means I'm going to be looking at my columns. Okay, so we know our totals for the columns by coming up here. There were 40 students total that were surveyed that were between the ages of 12 and 13. There were 25 total, 14 and 15-year-olds, and 35 total, 16 and 17-year-olds. So now what we're going to do is, for each of these age groups, figure out how many of the kids ride the bus and how many do not ride the bus. So to do that, we are going to turn these numbers into percentages, which, remember, a percentage is just a fraction, or it's a ratio, which is a fancy fraction, which is a division problem. So if we look at rides the bus, if I come to my stuff up here, I had 24 of my 40 12 to 13-year-olds that rode the bus. And if I figure out that as a percentage, you get around 60%. And it might be equals, I don't know, I'm looking out of your book. So these could be equal signs that I'm writing about, but I don't know. Okay, then we have the 12 and 13-year-olds. We had 16 of the 40 total, 12 and 13-year-olds, ride the bus, which gets us about 40%. Boop. Now we know that we've used 100% of the 12 to 13-year-olds because 60 plus 40 is 100. Okay, now we come to the 14-year-olds. We had 12 of the 25 total ride the school bus, which is, again, it could be about or equals, I don't know, I'm looking out of your book, 48%. And then we have 13 out of 25 that do not ride the bus, which is 52%. Now I know that that's all the 14 and 15-year-olds because 48 and 52 is 100. Okay, now let's come to my 16 and 17-year-olds. I know, looking at my data, that 14 of the 35 ride the bus, which is 40%, which would mean that 21 out of the 35 do not, which is 60%. Okay, cool. So there is our, so those are our percentages. Now, part B says, does the table in part A show a relationship between age, and when it says table in part A, it means this one. Oh yeah, this is part A. Between age and whether students ride the bus to school. So I would say that it looks like 12 to 13-year-olds, 60% of them ride it. 14 to 15-year-olds, 48% of them ride it. And 16 to 17-year-olds, 40% of them ride it. So I would say as students get older, less students ride the bus. And then if we think about that and compare it to our real life data, think about what's happening to 16 and 17-year-olds. Oh, a lot of them are getting their licenses. So that might be why less of them are riding the bus. And 12 to 13-year-olds, most of them don't have friends who can drive, and so they are going to rely more on the bus, which is why a bigger percentage of the 12 to 13-year-olds ride the bus. So anyway, that is how you now create and interpret two-way tables.